Square roots and cube roots, lesson 3 notes. Now we're going to talk about cubes. First of all, we're going to start with a perfect cube. Perfect cube, go ahead and write down this definition, and while you're at it, you might as well write down the definition for cube root down here at the bottom. Okay, so pause your video and write down those two definitions. Okay. Perfect cube is the product of multiplying three identical numbers. Now you remember what a perfect square is. We talked about perfect squares before. A 1 is a perfect square because 1 times 1, or 1 squared, is 1. 4 is a perfect square because 2 times 2, or 2 squared, is 4, and so forth. Well, this time we're multiplying three identical numbers. So 1 is a perfect cube because 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. Now I know with the ones it gets a little confusing, so let's use the 2. 8 is a perfect cube because 2 cubed, or 2 times 2 times 2, is 8. 27 is a perfect cube because 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 cubed, is 27, and so forth. So again, the perfect cube is the product of multiplying three identical numbers. So you're going to fill out this chart of the first 20, and I should have integer perfect cubes here because these are the first 20 integer perfect cubes. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of these. Okay, I'll read off each row. You can get them written down. 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, 4 cubed is 64, 5 cubed is 125. Next row. 6 cubed is 216, 7 cubed is 343, 8 cubed is 512, 9 cubed is 729, 10 cubed is 1000. Next row. 11 cubed is 1331, 12 cubed is 1728, 13 cubed is 2,197. 14 cubed is 2,744. 15 cubed is 3,375. Next row. 16 cubed is 4,096. 17 cubed, 4,913. 18 cubed, 5,832. 19 cubed, 6,859. And 20 cubed is 8,000. If you need to, pause your video, make sure you got all those written down correctly. Okay, the opposite of squaring a number is the square root. The opposite of squaring a number is the square root. Well, the opposite of cubing a number is the cube root. The opposite of cubing the number is the cube root. All right, so a number that must be multiplied times itself 3 times is equal to a given number. So a cube root is a number that must be multiplied times itself 3 times to equal a given number. Over here is how we write the cube root. So it's very similar to the square root, but you need to make sure you have a 3 up in that corner there. So that represents the cube root. Now to put the cube root into your calculator. To put the cube root into your calculator, you would put 3, then you would press the second button, then you would press the caret button. Remember, the caret button is up above the x squared. You would put in the number, and then you would hit enter. Okay, so oops. Let me go down to the end here. That's where it is. So notice here, I showed two different ways to put a number in your calculator. So the first one, notice how the 3 is a larger number. It's a larger number because it wasn't put in correctly. This actually means 3 times the square root of 27. This means 3 times the square root of 27. That's because when it was entered, it was put 3, the second button, and then the x squared, which meant that it wasn't a cube root that we did, it was still the square root, and it was multiplied times 3. But if you notice on the bottom one, see how the 3 is smaller? If the 3 is smaller, you put it into your calculator the correct way. The 3 will get smaller, and that means I pressed 3 second the caret button and then entered the 27. So it is very, very careful, or very, very important that you are careful when you enter these into your calculator. All right, so back up to our problems here. Okay, so if you didn't write this down, please pause your video and do so. Every real number has one cube root. Every real number has one cube root. If you are multiplying the same number times itself 3 times, you're either going to have 3 positive numbers or you're going to have 3 negative numbers. And if you have 3 positive numbers, it's going to stay positive. But if you're multiplying 3 negative numbers, 3 is an odd amount of negatives, that means it's going to be negative. So every real number has one cube root. The cube root of a positive number will be positive, while the cube root of a negative number will be negative. Pause your video and get this written down right here. Again, if the original number is positive, when you take the cube root, your answer will be positive. When you take the cube root of a negative number, your answer will be negative. Again, pause your video and get that written down. So one more time. If I take 3 positive numbers, 2 times 2 times 2, that is 2 cubed, and I would get positive 8. But if I took negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is negative 2 cubed, there are an odd amount of negatives here, therefore my answer would be negative 8. So if I go backwards, or the opposite direction, the cube root of negative 8 is negative 2, while the cube root of positive 8 is positive 2. If you have any questions on the cube root, please let me know.